exercises. For this first exercise, you're going to stand with your feet at a comfortable distance apart. Externally rotate your arms so the palms are facing outward and spread through the fingertips so you feel the muscles of the arms turn on. On an inhale, you're going to bring the arms up, then turn the arms over so the palms are facing outward, and exhale back down. This is a wonderful way to open up the breathing because the ribs open up as the arms come up, creating more room for air, and then soften the ribs back down as the arms go down. I like to imagine the bones of the arms turning inside the skin when I flip the palms over, so I could feel more motion through the arms with that turning over. Also, feel the collarbones pivot up as the arms go up, back down as the arms go down. The shoulder blades, think of those gliding smoothly, so they glide out and upwards, and then down and in towards the spine. I even like to envision this stretch going all the way to the low back. So I'm thinking of a connection from fingertips all the way to my sacrum as I do this motion. For this exercise, you're going to want a chair or a table or a counter because we are going to hinge forward at the hips with the arms up overhead. So it's going to look like this. You want to keep the back of your neck long, so you're not going to hang the head down here unless it feels really good to you, but I prefer keeping the back of the neck long. Phase one of the exercise is just to breathe here for a few moments, and you will likely feel quite the stretch under the arms and along the sides of the body. Also, depending on what's going on in your body, you might feel a good stretch in your low back and the backs of your legs. So a few breaths here. Next, you're going to do a little arch and curl of the pelvis. So generating the motion from the pelvis, it looks like this. Curl, lifting your belly towards the ceiling, and allow that motion to reciprocate up your spine. Then do a little arch of the pelvis. And now this again reciprocates up the spine, bringing you into a bit of an extension. So while you're generating the motion from the pelvis, have a little conversation with your spine about how it reacts further up the line to this arch and curl. And you can also feel how, when you're in this position, the engagement of the front of your body can help stretch the back of your body, giving you some traction in the low back. Then, as you come into this position, now the engagement in the back of your body can open up the front of your body. So you're basically doing cat-cow, but with the assistance of a chair or a table, getting some motion and loosening up of your spine. Now we're going to do a lunge exercise with a balance to help cultivate a feeling of lift and lightness in our bodies. So whether you're going to be playing sitting or standing, it's a good idea to stretch out the front of the hips because from all of the sitting that we do in our daily lives, our hip flexors tend to get tight and that causes a slumping in our upper bodies. So we want to get stretched out here. So the first phase of this exercise is to do a small lunge. And with that, I'm going to just go into about a quarter lunge position. The knee that's in front, that's going to bend, and you want to steer that knee over the second toe or even the space between the second and third toe. You want to feel the stretch in the hip of the leg that's back. So you bend the front knee, feel a sense of lift through your abdomen, and you can just hold this and breathe deeply for 10 to 15 seconds per side, feeling the opening in the front of the hip. The next phase of this exercise is to add a little bit of a stretch to the bottom of the foot and then to go into a balance. So what that looks like is you assume the same lunge position and then with the back foot push off so you feel yourself rolling through the back foot, getting a stretch at the bottom of the foot, which actually serves your entire back line of your body well by stretching the bottom of the foot. And you get this sense of momentum of your body all the way from the floor. So a few pushing off like that. And then can you consider lifting the back foot the front leg will straighten and come into a balance. So I'm going to show it to you from this direction. So the reason I like this exercise so much is that you know you've got this feeling of lightness, this lift, if you can balance easily. If you've got this kind of wobble going on, there could be a couple of things going on. Either you're not quite lifting in the center of your body, so that makes it harder to balance, so you want this feeling of lift. It's also an opportunity to see whether your shoulders want to brace to help keep you up. So think about keeping your arms, your shoulders light. You might even bring them back like this because it feels graceful and it creates a feeling of openness through the front of the body. So again, you rev up with a few pushes through the foot and then come into a balance. This exercise is one of my current favorites. It is a great side stretch, and you'll need a wall. So you'll stand next to the wall with your feet a few inches apart, and the hand that's closest to the wall you will place on the wall with your elbow bent. The other arm will come up, and you want to think about a stretch all the way from feet through the fingertips, stretching up the side of the body. Then you're going to bend to the side. Now, depending on your flexibility, this top hand might not reach the wall, and that's totally fine. You're still getting a great side stretch, fanning the ribs open. If you can go further, bringing this top hand to the wall, then go ahead and do it. And now here you are. You want to think about low tops of shoulders, that they're not shrugging up into your ears, but that you have space between your ears and the tops of your shoulders. So you're here in this side bend position, and then you can try a few presses. So you're doing this kind of funny side bent wall push-up to help get even more opening in the rib cage. You could do a side bend where you're not using the wall, and that's also effective, but the pressure of the hands against the wall help get just even a bit more opening in the body. And generally when I show this exercise to people, the reaction is, whoa, I really needed to stretch that. We, as string players, tend to get quite tight along the sides of our bodies, so this is super effective. I will show it to you from the back as well. So we're here, low tops of shoulders, arm up, bend to the side, and then either with the top hand on the wall or not, a few presses. You might feel quite a difference between the two sides, and that's totally fine. Just work within whatever is the comfortable range of motion for that particular side. One of the best ways that I've found to work out any tightness that builds up in my body from playing is to do rotations. So here we have a full body rotation, and we're going to begin with the feet a little bit wider than hips distance apart. And similar to the lunge, we're going to be pushing off of the foot to begin the motion. So it looks like this. Beginning with the right foot, I'm going to push into the ball of the foot, and as I do that, lift the same side arm. So I'm pushing into the foot, lifting the arm, and then spiraling around all the way until I'm looking in back of me. And when I look in back of me, the arm comes down. So it looks like that. Then, as you spiral back forward, the arm comes up, long stretch all the way from fingertips through the toes and back to this side. So a few things going on here. Again, you want to feel that feeling of momentum in your body that you get from the ground. And these spiral motions, I like to think of it as a barbershop pull that just keeps rotating and rotating up into forever. So think of your body doing that. You're getting from the floor, the beginning of this rotation, arm comes up, and then spiral all the way around. Let yourself feel like your ribs are rotating, your shoulder blade is wrapping around the front of your rib cage, and then back forward. It's a great twist for the middle. It's like you're wringing yourself out like a towel. To one side, and then to the other. A full body stretch to give yourself a feeling of connection all the way through the sides of the body and a cross connection as well, which is very useful for when we play. last exercise, we're going to mobilize the shoulders. And this is the one where we will be using the optional Theraband. I'm a huge proponent of keeping a Theraband in your case because this is such a great stretch, and there are other great Theraband stretches that you could do as well. And it's so light, you won't notice it's in your case, but you will notice it's not there when you feel sad that it's not there. So I recommend keeping one with you. And the way this is going to go is you're going to take the Theraband, take the arms a little wider than your body in an A shape, and you're going to just have a little bit of a pull on the band. Inhale, and as you're pulling the band apart, bring the arms up overhead. And I would start just here a couple of times. So similarly to the first exercise, you're feeling the pivot upward of your ribs and feeling the pivot upward of your collarbone as you do this. Then, if it is acceptable to your shoulders, you can come up, keep pulling so that you have width between the shoulder blades, and then go down and around, then back up. It's important in this exercise to maintain the integrity of your posture. So you just want to make sure that as the arms are coming up, that you're not flaring your hips forward like this and kind of crunching into your low back. You want to stay good and long in the low back and upright in this motion. Now, if you don't have a Theraband, you can get a somewhat similar effect by just taking the arms to this position, and you can experiment with different angles, what feels good for getting a stretch across the front of your chest, and just bring the arms back at different angles, feeling a stretch again, stretching through the fingertips, so you're activating all the way through the length of the arm. Same thing about just paying attention to your posture, that you don't spill into the low back with this one. A great stretch for the front of the chest and for getting mobility in the shoulders.